All right, so section 2.3c, writing equations of lines. Now we're only going to be focusing on one main equation type, which is the slope-intercept form. So I'm just going to rewrite it just so you guys remember it, okay? Slope-intercept form. There is another one called the point-slope form, but we're going to kind of shy away from that. Why give you a bunch of different equations? Let's just stick to one. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Okay? So like I mentioned before I started recording, your homework has multiple types of questions they're going to ask you. I think it's a total like 5 or 6 different types. They all have to do with this formula, but they're going to set you up differently. Sometimes they'll give you 2 points. Sometimes they'll give you a point and a slope. Sometimes they give you a picture. Sometimes they give you an equation. So you have to know how to manipulate it based on how you're given information. So we're going to start off kind of like on the easier end and then move our way towards the, I guess, more complicated methods, okay? So the first examples that they're going to ask you to do is they're going to want you to rewrite equations in slope-intercept form. So this form that you see right here, y equals to mx plus b, that's what I need you guys to write your equations to look like. Now remember, this is another way, whenever they say write in slope-intercept form, in other words, they're just saying solve for y, okay? That's all they're telling you, just solve for y. So don't freak out about the formula. They're just basically saying solve for y. If you solve for y, that's basically the slope-intercept form, okay? So here we go. Example number 1. They're going to tell us to solve, or not solve, write, sorry, because we're not solving for anything. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. If you want to shorthand it, you could put SIF, okay, slope-intercept form, SIF. So write the equation in slope-intercept form, and here is the equation that we're going to use. So negative 6y equals to 24, negative 24 minus 8x. Now remember, it's important that the placement that you use is written out properly, right? We want the x to be the whatever x term to be in the middle, the b term is towards the right, the y value is on the left side, okay? So first, let's try to get y all by itself. So if I'm trying to get y all by itself, I'm going to want to divide everything by negative 6. Okay, so let's do that. Let's divide everything by negative 6. Okay, every term gets divided by negative 6. So negative 6 divided by negative 6 is 1, so it goes away. So it's just going to be y equal to negative 24 divided by negative 6 is a positive 4. And negative 8x divided by negative 6, well, that's positive, but it doesn't divide evenly. Well, you know what? Let me write it as 8/6 for now, and then I'm going to reduce it on the next step, okay? Let's just kind of leave it at that. I don't want anybody to get lost, like where did the 8/6 go to? So the way it looks like right now is solve for y, but they want us to put it in slope-intercept form, which means the x should be in the middle and that 4 should be on the right side. So I'm just going to flip them because addition is commutative. That allows me to move things around. When I move the 8/6 to the middle part, I'm going to reduce it by 2, so it's going to become 4/3 x plus 4, and that's your answer. Okay? I just did one of the 2 problems for you guys. Okay? There's another one like this. Okay? So I just did one of them. You have one more to work on. I don't want to do the other one because there's only 2. But this is the idea. You're just going to solve for y and make it look like y equals mx plus b. Okay? You're not solving for any numerical value or anything like that. You're just solving for y. Okay? So you did that yesterday, so I'm not really like too worried about it. That was like the first 5 questions on yesterday's homework were like this. Okay? Now, the next problems actually get easier. They don't look like they're easier, but just because of the fact that they give us information that's pretty easy to plug in, these get very simple. So here we go. It says write the slope intercept form of a line given the slope, and I'm going to put the letter next to it. Okay, slope is M. I'm just going to do it in a different color. They're not going to do that in your instructions on your homework. I'm putting it here just so you guys know. So write the slope intercept form of a line given the slope and the y-intercept. And that's going to be your value of B. Make sure you guys memorize that, okay? The letters represent specific topics, the slope or the y-intercept. So make sure you guys know M is slope, B is y-intercept, okay? So write the slope intercept. Ooh, I forgot to put form, but write the slope intercept form. I'm going to use a little caret symbol. Those of you guys in the English class, this is probably going to be something you remember. Right, the little caret symbol for insert. Sorry about that. Write the slope intercept form of a line given the slope M and the y-intercept B. All right, so I'm only doing one of these examples, and it's not even going to be from your homework, because if I do the one from your homework, like, these are too easy for me to do for you guys. So this is what it looks like. It's going to say slope is, let's say, negative 2/3, and they put like a comma or semicolon. Then they'll write y-intercept is, let's say, a 7. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just, not that you have to do this, okay? You don't have to. I'm just going to do it so I can give it its notation to the number. So the slope is negative 2/3. So I'm going to write M is negative 2/3. Let's see. Sorry about that weirdness. They just quit out. But so M is equal to negative 2/3, and then B is equal to 7. Now I know that the formula for this is y equals mx plus b. So just get your m value and plug it in. Get your b value and plug it in, and you're done. That's it. It's simple. You don't have to actually do what I did. If you don't want to, that's fine. I wouldn't do it either. But if you need some kind of guidance, then write your slope and intercept using the letters, and then when you write your formula, just plug them in, and that's it. You don't have to do anything. No simplification, nothing. It's just going to be like that. That's it. So that's pretty easy, right? So that's 2 problems like that. So pretty easy. So the first 4 problems should be simple, I hope. Then we move on to things that are a little bit more challenging. So this next one requires a graph. So I'm going to do one of those really quick. So example number 3. Write the slope intercept form. Remember, you guys could put SIF if you want. Just saves you time. Of the line, okay? And let me draw one for us here. You know, sometimes I hear phones going off, and I'm like, man, that person's getting a lot of conversation. But then when you think about it, it doesn't always necessarily have to be text, right? The more apps you have, the more spam you get in your email, and they start sending you stuff all day and all night. Best Buy is one of those that I had to stop with them, because I used to get their dailies, and well, first they started off as weeklies, then it became dailies, and then all of a sudden I'm getting 3 to 4 emails from Best Buy a day. I'm like, relax, I don't need to buy anything, right? So yeah, it's one of those things where you're like sometimes overwhelmed with the amount of information they're trying to shove down your throat. So, all right, here we go. Wait a minute. I don't want to do that. Give me a second. Let me try to graph it like this. I'm going to try to be a little bit more exact with it if you guys don't mind. Just give me a second. All right. So I'm trying to be kind of exact with it because they're going to give you a picture that's going to pass through specific points real nice and cleanly. Okay. And let me stand up for this so you guys, I can kind of point up here. So what you guys are going to probably note, they want slope-intercept form. I need to know my slope. I need to know my intercept, my M and my B. Okay? The easiest thing to find is your B value, where it crosses the y-axis. Where does it cross the y-axis? At 1. So that's easy. Write that down. B equals 1. Right now I'll do that. It's just a little harder to write when I'm standing up. And then I got to figure out my slope. Okay? Well, the way you can figure out your slope is, remember how we used to have pictures and they used to put dots for us and we used to count, right? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put points on the graph and then I'm going to count my slope. I'm either going to go up and over or down one and over, okay? So I saw you put your fingers up for the answer of the slope, but it's not that. It's flip that, and I think you're going to get it because you told me, right? Oh, 1 over 2. I thought you said 2. Yeah, it is going to be a 1/2, okay? And you can use the point right here. This point right here, -2, 0, and 0, 1. You go up 1, 2 over. So, yeah, 1/2 would be correct. So let me go ahead and do that for us here. Like I said, I just wanted to stand up to point at it so it could be a little easier so you guys can see what I was talking about. So here we go. I know that my y-intercept is right there. So B is equal to 1. And then I just get to pick any point where it crosses nicely. It doesn't matter. I can even pick this point right here. It crosses nicely right there, right? To get from the left point to the right point, I have to go up 1 over 2. So my slope is 1/2. Once I have that, then I just got to write my equation, right? Y equals mx plus b. I'm gonna write it down because, like I told you guys, I always like to write down my formulas so it helps me remember them. And then I'm just gonna fill in the information, and I'm done. That's it. That's the answer to that problem right there. 1/2 x plus 1. Y equals to 1/2 x plus 1. So it's not that these problems are difficult to do. Okay, and by the way, this is not one from your homework because the homework only gives you 2. So, but they're the same idea. Okay, but you're just gonna have to find your y-intercept. That's the easy one, right? Find out where it crosses the y-axis, and then figure out your slope. That means you're gonna have to put 2 points on your graph. I would recommend your slope-intercept being one of them because you need that, and then just find any other one. Any other one. It doesn't matter. I could have picked that green point right there, or I could have gone further out and picked another one. And even if my slope would have been 2 over 4, it still reduces to 1/2. Okay? It doesn't matter which one you pick. It should always come out to a half once you simplify it. All right, so that's the front page of your homework. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. You're going to have to write equations using y equals mx plus b. You're going to have to write equations given the slope and your y-intercept, or you're going to write equations given a picture. That's the front. Now the back, I will do a lot more of these problems because of the fact that the backside has, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 problems. Okay, and they're all kind of the same thing, but they're not as easy as the ones in the front. Okay, so here we go. But I'll try to get you guys to do them as simple as possible. It's just sometimes they can be a little confusing. So same instructions, write the slope-intercept form of the equation. So we have 2 more topics to go. Okay, example 4, example 5. But I'm probably going to do 2 for example 4. That way we can get 2 out of the 6 out of the way for you. And then maybe 1 or 2 of example 5, and that'll be it. So write the slope-intercept form of a line given a point and a slope. So they're going to give us a point and a slope. So this is the information that they're going to give us, okay? This is part A. It's going to say through, that means that it passes through the point 4, 1, and it has a slope of negative 1/4. Okay, if you're like me, I like to relabel. So my point, I don't need to relabel. It's 4, 1. That's simple. But my slope is negative 1/4. Okay? So I got to write y equals to mx plus b, right? That's what I need. So y equals mx plus b. This is my goal. I can plug in my slope. Negative 1/4 x plus b. But what am I missing? My b value, my y-intercept. The way I'm going to figure out what b is I'm going to get my point, which is xy, right? 4 comma 1, that's x comma y. And I'm going to plug that into the equation. So I know that 4 is x and 1 is y. So 1 equals negative 1/4 times 4 plus b. And I'm going to solve for b. Well, negative 1/4 times 4 is negative 1. So it's 1 equals negative 1 plus b. And if I add 1 to both sides, I'll get b by itself. So I'll add 1. So 2 is equal to b. Now I know that my b value is 2 and my m value is negative 1/4. And now that I know m and b, I can write my equation. So I'm going to change the color here on purpose. Y equals mx plus b. M is negative 1/4 and b is a positive 2. And that's my solution. Okay, there's my answer. Remember, this one is a homework problem for you guys. I'm going to do another one that is a homework problem for you guys. Or maybe I might do two because one of them is pretty quick. So maybe I'll help you with that one as well. Any questions on this one? So let's do another one that's going to require a little bit of work, and then we'll move on from it. Part B, let's say, all right, I see one right here. So part B is going to say through negative 2 comma 5 with a slope of negative 4. Through negative 2 comma 5 with a slope of negative 4. And again, I just like to rewrite the information so I know what I have. I always rewrite it using the notation that I'm giving because the notation relates to my equation, so that way I can see what parts of the equation I have. Okay? So y equals mx plus b. I know what m is, negative 4x plus b. I don't know what b is, so I'm going to plug in my point into that equation so I can figure out what b is. So my point is x is negative 2 and y is 5. So here we go. 5 equals negative 4 times 2. Times negative 2. So that's 5 equal to 8 plus b. And then subtract 8 on both sides to solve for b. So I get negative 3 equals to b. So now I have the two pieces that I need. I have my slope and I have my b value. So I'm just going to get my equation here, y equals to mx plus b. Again, you guys don't have to write it as much as I do. Again, I just do it out of habit now. It's just habitually. Anytime I'm going to use the formula, I write it. So y equals mx plus b. M is negative 4. And b is negative 3. And that's it. You're done with that problem. So I know these look a lot more complicated. They're not hard, but there's more steps. Okay? They're not like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, no, it all follows, right? Here's your slope, here's the point. Just plug it all in, work out for b, and then plug your b back in. So it makes sense how to do it, but there is a lot more work than what we did in the first problem and the second problem, right? So that's what I mean, that they get a little bit more complicated. All right? So just an inside look, and we can talk about this one really quick. What if I gave you, and I'm not doing this one from the homework, okay? But what if it says through 2 comma, let's say negative 5, and then it says slope is undefined. Think about that. Slope is undefined. Straight line how? Because that is right, but how? Is it horizontal or is it vertical? Which one of the two? It's vertical, right? It's a vertical line. How do vertical lines get depicted? We talked about that today in the very beginning. Vertical lines, you write x equal to whatever x is, right? So x equals 1, x equals 5. I just need to know what is x. So let me go back to the problem. What's my x value here? 2. So this is all you have to do. X equals 2. And you're done. Okay? There is no slope-intercept form for this one because it doesn't have a slope. It's undefined, straight up and down. Okay? So that one's pretty easy. There is one like that on your homework. I didn't do the one on your homework, but it's that quick. Okay? It does not take a long time. So we got one more to go, guys. One more example to do. Like I said, this homework is a ton of different types. They all still relate to one main idea, slope-intercept form, but they're trying to say, like, you could either get it like this, or you can get it like this, or it can look like this, or it can look like this, or even like this. There's so many ways that you can write that formula based on specific situations. So this one that I'm going to do next, I'm not trying to start us off on the negative note, but it is the I'm going to do it in air quotes here, the toughest one, because it requires the most work. It's not hard work, but it requires the most work. So this is example number 5. And it's going to say write the slope-intercept form. Let me see. Of the line given 2 points. So notice they're not going to give me the slope. They're not going to give me the y-intercept. They're just going to give me 2 points. Okay? So again, this one's going to come from your homework. So here we go. Let's try 3, 0, and 4, 3. So this is going to be part A. 3, 0, and 4, 3. What can I do with 2 points? Yeah, they're both subtraction minus x1. The slope formula, right? By the way, some people were asking me on the test day, what if I do y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2? Is that still okay? Yes, it's okay if you flip them both. But don't flip the top and leave the bottom the same. If you cross them up, it's all messed up, okay? But you can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or y1 minus y2 over x2 x1 minus x2. You can do that. As long as they're both switched, that's fine. But we're going to use the slope formula here. So anytime you have 2 points, you can use this to find your slope. Okay? And I'm going to label my points x1, y1, x2, y2. There's a lot of you guys that ask me if you guys labeled them right. Some of you guys had like x1, x2 on one point, y1, y2 on the other one. I think you were thinking like x was the first point, y was the second. Remember, there's an x and y per point. The 1 and the 2 refers to first and second points, okay? So here we go. Slope is y2, that's 3, minus y1, that's 0, over x2, that's 4, minus x1, that's 3. So my slope is 3 over 1, so it's just 3. So notice I have my slope. I'm going to highlight it because that's important for me. Once I know my slope, I just need my y-intercept and I'm good. Okay? Well, I have a slope and I have 2 points. Can I just do what I did in the previous example, right? Just plug numbers in and see what happens, right? So I'm going to change colors here really quick as we move on to different steps. So y equals mx plus b. I know my slope. Y equals 3x plus b. And I can pick any one of those points. Which point looks like it should be easiest to plug in? The 3, 0, right? Anytime you have a 0 as an opportunity, use it. Okay, because that means like it wipes things out. So 3, 0. X is 3, y is 0. So 0 equals 3 times 3 plus b. 0 is equal to 9 plus b. That means that if I subtract 9 on both sides, I get negative 9 is equal to b. And that's exactly what I need. I need my slope and I need my intercept because obviously the equation is called the slope-intercept form. So, last piece. Again, you guys do not have to write this equation over and over again. It's just habitual for me, so it's all right. Plus the fact that I'm a little OCD makes all my habits pop up, right? So here you go. It just keeps my notes in order. I think it's just helpful. So, all right, m is 3, b is negative 9, so y equals 3x minus 9, and this is my final answer. Okay? And this is what the last 4 problems of your homework are going to look like. So I'll stop right now and give you guys your assignment.